Hello and welcome to the Fulhamish Quick Take with me, Dan Cook. After a wet and windy night down at the G-Tech Legoland Stadium, the Whites came away with a 3-2 loss, and it was a bit disheartening. And Brentford fans obviously revelled in that win, and we sort of dragged our tails between our legs and slunk off. But we're going to go over it. We're going to have your thoughts, and we'll have a little bit of a cathartic session over the next 15 minutes, working out why this isn't the end of the world and really things are just fine. I guess we start from the beginning of the game, and it was a slow start from Fulham. And that's quite surprising because I think in general we're quite good at the start of games. We tend to start quite quick, quite intense. We've seen it several times throughout this season and maybe have lulls towards the end of the first half. But this first half here, 10 minutes in, we were really on the back foot, and Brentford deserved to be 1-0 up. It was a scrappy goal. I think Aaron Hickey has a shot from the edge of the area, which is scuffed across the face. It falls to Ethan Pinnock. He shoots, it's deflected off Tim Ream, and it's 1-0. But really, Brentford had chances before that to go 1-0 up. You're looking at Brian Mbeumo, I think, had two golden opportunities and he didn't put them away. One due to just a horrific miss and another just a good save from Bernd Leno, who, again, as dependable as ever between the sticks. But it was a concern. And I think going into this game, we were all worried about what would we look like without Joao Palhinha. And the first 10 minutes really were an insight into that. We just looked a bit flat. We didn't look like we had any bite in the centre of the pitch, and Brentford ran all over us. I think especially in those first few minutes, Anthony Robinson looked like he struggled. Brian Mbeumo getting the better of him, which we don't often see this season, a winger getting the better of Anthony Robinson. But throughout the game, I thought it was probably his worst performance of the season. And, you know, we've got to cut him slack because he has been good this season. But whilst his end product is questionable at times, and it was again yesterday, I think the big problem we had was that defensively he looked like he got caught out too many times, and we saw it again with Brentford's third getting beat by Kevin Schade. So it was a tough night for our American left back. But after that, I think Fulham really did grow into this game, and we started to really dictate the play. Marco spoke about it. You know, Brentford did sit back and they allowed us to have the ball, but I thought we moved about well. There were times when we probably could have done with a little bit more speed and been a little bit more incisive when we moved the ball about. But in general, I thought we looked the better team for the next 30 minutes of that half. Sasha Lukic in midfield, I think that's one of the big questions that we were going into this game and one of the big discussion points. I thought in possession, he looked very tidy, did Sasha. He looked like he always wanted to be on the ball. He was constantly offering, and that was a positive thing to see. However, off the ball, I think you saw where we were missing Joao Palhinha because he just doesn't have that same awareness. He's not as good as in the challenge, and he really did get caught out a number of times. So it was an interesting first start for Sasha, some positives, some negatives, and I think it could have been a lot worse given that after we equalised, he definitely could have seen a second yellow, but we'll come on to that shortly. That as we were growing into this game, we didn't really create a huge amount, but we were knocking. And then eventually we got a free kick on the edge of the area. One of the few decisions that I think did go our way, as Harrison Reed was kicked in the stomach. It's a fantastic free kick from Andreas Pereira. And it's a shame that it doesn't go straight in because it deserved to. He's hit it so well. He's gone keeper's side, which I think makes sense because it was so close in. And then our man, Manor Solomon, 5 in 5, just in the right place. He's aware. Everyone else is watching the free kick, and Manor's ready. He's ready to pounce, and he heads it in. Probably the shortest player on the pitch, which is always fun when they score a header. And we were level going in to half time, and it was looking a lot more positive. But I think the last 2 minutes of the first half are really where this game hinged, because there were two incidents, one that went in our favour and one that didn't, which I think both could have had a huge difference on the game. First, we've got to talk about Ivan Toney. I mean, Sasha Lukic gets two studs to the face from his sliding challenge. And I think you can say whatever you want about whether Ivan Toney meant it or he didn't. The fact of the matter is he got two studs in the face, And it's a dangerous challenge, and it's a straight red card. You can't do that. As Gary says, how the hell that clown Tony didn't get sent off? Probably some sort of bet going on with the referee. I mean, we've got all of the other bits of Ivan Tony that are easy to dislike, but really, I thought that was a really nasty challenge from Ivan Tony. Danny Murphy spoke about it on TalkSport. He's braced his front leg. He's gone in with his studs up, and it's caught Sasha in the face, and it could have been a lot worse. And I'm baffled, really, that VAR hasn't picked up on that, and it hasn't looked at it deeper and gone that that's a red card, because whatever the situation and the circumstances and the context of it, the end result was dangerous, and he's got to be sent off for that. And as Gary says, yeah, he didn't even get a booking, which is astonishing, and I guess VAR is not going to step in and ask for a yellow card because it can't do that. But the fact that Anthony Taylor's not booked him to begin with is absolutely baffling. And we come on to the next thing, as Gary also touches on, that Lukic should have been sent off after that. And he's absolutely right. I mean, Sasha Lukic has really got away with one there on a yellow card. They're bearing down on our goal. We got caught out from a counter-attack from our own set piece, and it's just a mistimed challenge from Sasha Lukic. And I cannot believe, really, how Anthony Taylor hasn't given him a second yellow card. I mean, I think that people are right, and I've seen a lot of people talking about it, as Gary also mentions, that really that's probably a decision that he's given because he might have recognised that he's made a mistake on the Ivan Toney one on him. But Sasha Lukic has got to be off there for me. Second yellow card. They're bearing down on our goal, and he's just mistimed it. And how he stayed on the pitch, I'm not sure. Obviously, we're not complaining at that point. I think everyone agrees that it's a second yellow card. I think also everyone agrees that had Ivan Toney been correctly sent off, Sasha Lukic doesn't make that challenge in the first place. But that was the end of the first half, and yeah, Fulham edged it probably. We had more of the play for more of the half. 1-1, probably the fair result going into half time. And then we came out and we just didn't see that Fulham at all in the second half. We really didn't. We were slow. Brentford were running all over us again. And early on, it's a long throw in. Brentford are a very good set piece team. And we expect this. They work a lot on it. It's part of this Thomas Frank philosophy that you put a lot of focus into set pieces. It's a messy long throw. It's exactly what you expect from them. There's some scrapping in the box, but it's a soft penalty, isn't it? I don't know what you think, but to me, as Issa Diop goes to kick that, it's Norgard, I believe, who gets in there first. There's a little bit of contact on his heel. Norgard goes down. I think one Brentford player appeals for it. No Fulham players look concerned. And suddenly Anthony Taylor's pointing to the spot. And it was just a weird decision to me. He seemed so keen to give something that basically no one else had seen. And I think from that point, VAR is not going to overturn it. VAR doesn't overturn penalties because they're soft. It overturns penalties because they are blatantly wrong. And I guess you can say that to an extent that's not blatantly wrong. But for me, you can't be giving penalties for that. I think it's so soft. And then Ivan Toney tucks it away. And again, shouldn't have been on the pitch, but he tucks it away and it's 2-1. And unlike in the first half, we just didn't see that reaction from Fulham. We didn't seem to rise to the occasion there from going 2-1 down. We seemed to almost, to an extent, melt away. And it just allowed Brentford to pile on the pressure, and more chances came their way until eventually Kevin Schade, who'd come on as a substitute, beats Anthony Robinson. He puts a ball in and Matthias Jensen sticks it away. I think the one thing that all Fulham fans are slightly troubled by with that goal is our new loan signing, Cedric Suarez, and his involvement in this goal, because it is truly baffling, really. I was confused to start with as to why he came on for Kenny Tete. I thought Kenny Tete put out his usual level of performance. I don't think they caused us too many trouble down our right-hand side. I thought he handled Johan Wissa very well. He seemed quicker and stronger than him. He didn't get beat, and we were seemingly, I thought we were struggling more on our left-hand side than we were on our right. But we saw Kenny come off. Maybe it's just tired legs, and Cedric came on. And his first involvement was to volley the ball 40 yards in the air towards our own goal. And then we just never recovered. Brentford picked the ball up. They moved it nicely. And it was 3-1, and that killed the game from there. There was no way we were coming back from that point. And it's a shame, because we never like to lose to our local rivals. And I think it's Jack Collins has said on the pod many a time, this is the game you don't lose. You don't lose to Brentford, because we know the fan base reaction that we get off the back of it. But you've got to give it to them, really. I thought they were the better team on the night. We deserved to lose. They deserved to win. And these games are going to happen. And I think this is one of the big things coming out of this that we should probably accept as Fulham fans, is that this result was probably coming. We've not been great for a few weeks now. We've been off the pace. We've got results in games, which is important. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely merit in the fact that we are now a team that we previously weren't, where even if we're not playing well, we can get results. And that's something that we like as Fulham fans, because I think we've had enough of many years of playing, attractive football with little result and, sticking out games only to lose it late on. This team has got something about them that means even if we're not at our best, we can still get results. But this was coming. Brentford came into it probably on a similar amount of form. Yes, they haven't lost in a long time, since October in the league, but they've not been at their best. But they were just better than us last night, and we've got to accept that. Part of that has got to be the fact that we're missing Joao Palhinha. I think there's no question that him in that side probably makes a difference, because he has been most likely our player of the season. But I think another thing that we should probably talk about, and I'm sure you have your opinions on it as well, is Alexander Mitrovic, because he has not been towards anywhere near what we expect of him since the World Cup, and this injury has been causing him problems, and he just doesn't seem at it. I thought he seemed off the pace. In the first half, I thought he was okay. He put himself about. His hold-up play was okay. He didn't get very much service. In the second half, he really faded. And that what makes me think that this is still injury-related, because as that game got longer, Mitro faded more and more out of it. He was beaten consistently by Ben Mee. He struggled to hold it up. He struggled to bring other players into play. And ultimately, I think that's where we lost it in the second half, is that we just got penned in by Brentford, because Mitro wasn't providing us with that outlet. He wasn't holding the ball up and letting us get up the pitch. And so that's probably one of the reasons why we looked so flat and so poor. And credit to Carlos Vinicius, because he came on, he looked lively, he put himself about. Yes, he's not maybe the best football player in the world technically, but he's got himself another goal. That's 2 since the World Cup. It's as many as Mitro scored since the World Cup. And it's a tidy finish. He's alert. The game's dead by that point, but credit to him, because the one thing that Carlos hadn't lacked at any point as a Fulham player, and that's the effort he puts in up top. So I think a little doff of the cap to Carlos Vinicius, because it's not easy playing second fiddle to such a fan favourite. And I think he's doing okay at the moment. And I've even seen calls to bring him in over Mitro, which I think is an interesting one, because do we wait until Mitro is looking a bit sharper to throw him in, or do we just bank on the fact that he is our best striker and we need him in games? It's a tough one. I'm not too sure where I fall on it. We've got Cameron here asking, has the fact that we're pretty much safe made us slack off a bit? I don't know if I don't think so. Personally, I just think, and I've seen people talking about this, we've got a slim squad. We don't have a huge amount of depth. I was saying to a friend of mine during the week that I'd say we probably have 13, maybe 14 first team Premier League level players. And then outside that, we are running a risk whenever we have to rotate, or whenever we have to bring someone in due to injury or suspension. We saw that last night. Sasha Lukic is a good player. He's not Joao Palhinha. And that's ultimately the problem that we've got. And likewise up top, Alexander Mitrovic is our best striker. He is our most lethal forward. However, if he's not fully fit, we suffer because of that. And I think that applies to a lot of teams. But I think if we're looking at top 10 Premier League teams, I think we've got the slimmest squad. And that's counting against us at the moment. But I think that's something that, given our position at the moment, is not too much of a worry, because now we know we're safe. And we are still fighting, and we're still going to pick up a lot of points towards the end of the season. And it's not over. I think this top 7 race is still on. We've got favourable fixtures coming up in April. But we know that in the summer that we've got a job in trying to bulk out this squad a little bit, bring in some quality and depth, and really focus on making us competitive across a season. Because we know with the fixture list and how busy it gets that you do need to use your squad. And you're looking at Tim Ream, who again, last night, I thought was very good for most of it. I think he wore off towards the end of the second half, as most of our players did. But he started and played every single minute of Premier League football this season. And he's 35 years old. And that's going to catch up with him eventually, and it will catch up with anyone, I think, playing every single minute. But look, at the end of the day, it's not a good result. It hurts to lose there. I quite liked that we got the late goal, as Cameron says, the most underwhelming goal of the season. But it does mean that this season we end level on aggregate with Brentford. It's a 3-2 win and a 3-2 loss. So there's nothing they can really hold over us there, which is a good thing. And we're still in a very, very comfortable position, and we've still got things to fight for. It is difficult to look at the table at the moment because of the number of games and hands that team have over us, but we're in the top 10, and it's a fantastic year. We're doing fantastic things. We've got a squad that we love, players that we have really instantly become fan favourites. You look at Manor Solomon thriving. You look at Tim Ream with this renaissance, Joao Palhinha, Harrison Reed. It's a team that we have really come to love, and it's a pleasure to watch these guys play. We are going to lose games every now and then. It hurts that we've lost to Brentford, but in the wider scheme of things, this is still a fantastic season, and we've still got things to fight for. We've still got the league to fight for. We've got a quarter final coming up at Old Trafford against a wounded Manchester United, and I wouldn't write us off there. So take some positivity going through this week. We've got a tough one on Sunday, Arsenal at home. It's not going to be easy, but we gave them a really good game at the Emirates at the start of the season. So I wouldn't expect us to roll over in this one. It's going to be tough without Joao again, but keep the faith. We're doing well. Have a lovely week, and come on, you Whites.